Well, hello and welcome to the Elevate Your Value. This has been exciting and it is just been phenomenal. And I am so excited to be a part of this amazing Elevate Your Value Summit. I am CK. I am Carmen. I know they've given you a brief introduction of who I am, and I have been elevated just listening to the speakers and the value that has been given. And now I am again. I am CK. Carmen King. I am an author, speaker, and I just love to bring value to my middle-aged women and men and those that just love to travel and see new adventures and more. And I am here today as I just share to elevate, as I elevate myself with what I want to talk about today, as we talk about being, elevating yourself as you be you, do you for you. And one of the things, it is so important to be you for you and as you do you. And it's not about being selfish, but it's about, you know, making sure that as you are going through all the circumstances that you go through, that you don't use you and the focus of the victory ahead. So let's get into it because the time is far spent and I am so excited to share this and my story. But let's go. Let's begin as you know I talk about it. This conference has been amazing as we continue on. And again, let's go. You know, how do I do this? How do I elevate my value as I be, be me, do me for me, and it's so important to understand that first. I want to talk about my story real quickly for 1 second. I want to share my story and why I'm talking about this be you for you and doing you. You know, as I started before I became an entrepreneur and started in this focus of writing my solo book and all of those things, I was a person that daily just went to work. I did different jobs and just loved learning new skills and doing different things and encouraging myself in these different jobs. And I learned so much about myself, and that's part of what I want to talk about because that's how you're going to elevate as you learn more about you. And what happened was, as I talk about my story, as I talk about my story, as I talk about my story, I just went to work doing my regular daily job. The next thing I know, I was in the midst of a circumstance because I worked for the Department of Education and I worked in security, what we would call security. And me just trying to be there for the children and do my job as what we would call an agent, the students got a little heated and I wound up in the midst of two heated students. and it took me into another level, and I wound up getting injured on the job. And after I got injured on the job, it took my life into a whole different circumstance. All of a sudden, I was unable to return to the job. And one of the things I want to talk about is my mindset had to change in reference to me, because how I thought about me and how I spoke about me and the circumstances, because I couldn't talk anymore about I couldn't talk about being defeated. I couldn't talk about how it was, how things were all of a sudden no longer working. But I had to make it work for me. So as I kept going and doing the things that I did, you know, I had to realize that my mindset had to shift. And I had to make a decision of me wanting to make sure that I kept going. So I wanted to talk to you first about, how do you think about you? How do you speak about yourself? And that is so important. So that's an attitude shift. How do you talk about yourself? How do you reference to yourself? And that's important. The next thing I had to make up my mind about was using my strength, even when I wasn't able to return to work, and dealing with the weaknesses, and not embracing my weakness, because at the time it was a weakness, but I had to identify my strength in the midst of my weakness so that I could move on and keep going to elevate, not playing the comparison game because everybody else was doing certain things. But how was I going to do it? So I had to move along in such a way. I had to say, CK, what is your end game? CK, how are you going to keep going? CK, what is your next step? And you have to make that a priority. You have to make that a priority. So when I did that, I couldn't play the comparison game anymore. But now I had to, as I elevate my value, in order to elevate my value, I had to identify my strength to keep going. I had to put change my mindset and how I felt about everything that was happening, and not make it a weakness, but kept being the best me. I had to be the authentic me. I had to not worry about being perfect, because I had what we would call the perfection syndrome. So I had to be the best, and just do the best that I could. I just had to be the best and do the best that I could. Can I say it again? I just had to be the best and do the best that I could. Can I say it one more time? I just had to do the best that I could. I couldn't give up and I couldn't let go. And I say this to you, you have to just continue to be the best that you could and not give up on who you are and the focus of where you're going. So I had to understand that my passion was most important in the midst of it all. I had to realize to elevate my value as I be me, do me, for me. I had to be passionate for my dreams, for my next. Are you passionate for your dreams, for your next? I want to ask you one more time. Are you passionate for your dreams and your next? And finally, I want to ask you another question. As we elevate, in the end, as I get ready to close out, use the had to use the uncertainty of life and elevate my value to be me, to do me, for me. As I put it all together again, changing my mindset about my circumstances, using my strength, being and becoming the best me, facing the challenges that I was facing, being passionate where I not stopping where I was, but where I would like to see myself. Where would you like to see yourself? Not where you are, but where you're going. So I had to use different things of my mindset and my attitude, getting up every day with a positive mindset, getting up every day with the right attitude, getting up every day, making making the right decisions. But nothing would always work out perfectly. But it would come together as I, my mindset shifted on the negative of that whole situation. And then as I close out, a second uncertainty happened, and I'm just sharing this as an ad. I went with COVID towards the end of 2022, and I had to again face another reality and uncertainties. And I had to put my perspective in order. And I had to rise and not give up. How do you do that? The mindset. How do you do that? Connect with the right people. How do you do that? Just being the best you. How do you do that? As you elevate your value. Just be you. Just do you for you. And as I close out, I have my complimentary. I have my complimentary booking site for you, because part of elevating is knowing when to put it to set yourself apart and revamp and put it all together. And it is free. You just use, as it says, create a password, and all you have to do, just like any other booking site, you don't need anything else but a password and your email. And that's part of being you, doing you for you, getting away so that you can elevate to that next level, because you're putting your mind and you're setting your mind and you're creating the next level. And you're also putting things in order. Let's elevate. Let's elevate our value as we be as we be ourselves. As we be ourselves. As you be you, do you for you. Thank you. Take 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 all of what you're getting in this elevate your value summit, all the nuggets. Hear the stories, hear the heart, and keep elevating. It's 2023. It's the beginning of the year. I hope I encouraged you to keep going. I hope I encouraged you to know that nothing can stop you but you. But you have to make up your mind to keep going by being you, doing you for you. Again, you have to make up your mind to keep going, being you, doing you forever.